Let me just tell you right now that I have not seen the first film. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know the first one existed until I saw the trailers for this one. I went into this with little to no expectations because it's a January movie and the trailers really weren't all that impressive. And you know what? All the heist stuff was actually okay.
And the cop goes gangster.
Who asked for this movie to be made? I mean, I guess since the original film managed to make its money back and a little bit more, they just decided, fuck it. Let's make another mediocre heist film that no one gives a shit about. And then drop it in January because we, the studio, know that this movie is boring as fuck. We just want a little bit of money back. They had 7 years to try to cook up something at least somewhat interesting and good, and yet they somehow made a boring pile of crap that felt like 4 hours of nothing. This is a 2 hour and 10-minute heist film that manages to pull off something that I was not expecting with this kind of premise. Being boring. I mean, holy shit, the first half of this film is just completely unforgivable because of how terribly slow and dull it is. We follow Gerard Butler, a cop who was just recently divorced and just seems to be not giving a fuck anymore with life. Seeing that the system is completely screwing him over and with nothing left to go back to, he might as well just switch sides and go gangsta. He manages to find O'Shea Jackson Jr. in Europe and wants to join his crew to perform a heist for some diamonds. So do they manage to pull off this heist, or is Gerard Butler a double agent? That's for you guys to figure out once you get through this slog of a movie. Let me first get the positives out of the way and then I'll rant on all the negatives that I have with this. The heist itself is pretty awesome, pretty intense. There's no music. We're just really in the moment in this fucking heist with our characters. It was really cool seeing how this team operate and plan things out in order to break into this bank of diamonds or whatever. It's the best part of the movie, and it's just unfortunate that they didn't really build up to it all that well. The premise of a cop going gangsta and helping this team pull off one of the craziest heists in the world, I mean, come on, this is basically a gold mine. And there was an alright car chase shootout scene that I thought was kind of cool for the most part, and easily the best parts of this film are really the conversations between Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson. Whenever they were talking, I felt like we were actually getting somewhere with these characters and getting some depth with them, you know, actually learning about who they are, what they want with their life, and where they're gonna go. These are the only two people that get some characterization. The rest of them are just filling in some kind of role for this heist. I don't want to seem like that asshole that needs every single character in the film to have some backstory told to us. No, not at all. I just want them to feel like real people that's adding to this film, that's genuinely moving the plot forward. But holy shit, this film manages to make every single character and their relationships completely forced. I don't believe the chemistry between any of them. The movie's excuse for this is that none of these people actually work together all that often, so they're really strangers together working on this heist. Well, not really, because there is some weird, awkward tension between a couple of them, and I'm just like, so they have some history? I don't know, and I don't care, but whenever the movie tries to make us at least somewhat believe that these people are getting along, working together, it is some of the most bullshit thing ever. I also can't really pick up the vibe on this film. On one hand, it wants to be taken serious and make audiences believe that these are the badasses of thievery. On the other hand, it throws out jokes here and there trying to be relatable, likable, and understandable, and why these people are pulling off these heists all over the world. And somehow this movie manages to poorly mesh those things together, and we just get this boring ass schlop of a film. It has none of the charm or talent that all those other great heist films have, especially Ocean's 11. This group of professional thieves that we're supposed to believe are total badasses in their field just open their arms for Gerard Butler, who they all know is a cop. I guess you could say that's a mild spoiler, but come on, throughout this entire film, I was just wondering, are these people not gonna do a background check on him? Are they not gonna try to suss him out and see what he's really up to? Maybe he's a double agent. Instead, we get a whole bunch of boring heist prepping and investigating scenes, none of which actually draw you into the heist itself. There's also a third party involved that's interested in this diamond that they're trying to steal, but I won't get into it because that's on spoiler territory. But let me just reaffirm you that it's just lame as fuck. And does anyone for a second believe that Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. can pull off a heist looking like they do? I'm not trying to fact shame here, I'm just pointing out the obvious and letting you guys know that I don't believe for a second that these guys can pull off a heist that requires so much physical work. There is nothing noteworthy of the production here. It is one of the most generic movies ever ever made that probably should have been released in the mid-2000s straight to DVD. And honestly, if we were back in those times, they would probably kill. I'm pretty sure this movie is lined up to be in some streaming service somewhere in the next week or two, because I don't think anyone's going out to watch this boring ass movie. Oh, and in case you didn't figure it out by now, the performances are also extraordinarily bland. I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh right now, but please let me know in the comments below. I did have a miserable time in the theater because the people next to me just couldn't stop making sounds. There was a couple to the left of me that just wouldn't shut the fuck up and put their phones on mute. And there was an annoying ass sleepy bitch that just kept snoring and clearing her throat every other goddamn second, pissing me off because I just couldn't concentrate because of how many times she just kept doing it. 1 or 2 times every 5 minutes or so. I get it, you know, we all gotta clear our throats. I was definitely clearing mine occasionally here and there too, but imagine hearing it every 2 fucking seconds like this. Pick up cup, slurp, 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 mess with the straw, throw it back down, and then... You know, it's probably the people around me that just ruined the film for me, because when I really think about it, it's alright. It's a mediocre movie that I think anyone can use as background noise. I am so goddamn fed up with these annoying ass moviegoers. There needs to be some kind of like reform with the consequences to these kind of people, because I'm tired of it. I am so fucking tired of these people ruining movies for everyone. Alright, that's enough of me. I'll catch you guys next time.
Sometimes it's best to keep your mouth closed, you see. That's why your best friend and me, yeah, have been making plans all along. Sometimes it's best to keep your mouth closed, you see. So here's